What if I told you that a family welcomed home their missing son, lived with him for months, and never realized he was a complete stranger? Welcome to SherlockMode. Our story begins in the hot summer of 1994 in San Antonio, Texas. Picture a typical neighborhood where children play basketball in the scorching heat and families gather for dinner as the sun sets. But for the Barclay family, this summer would become their worst nightmare. Nicholas Barclay was just 13 years old, a troubled teenager with blonde hair and piercing blue eyes. On June 13, 1994, he wanted to play basketball with his friends. His mother Beverly gave him $5 and told him to be back by dinner. But Nicholas was no ordinary kid. At just 13, he already had 3 tattoos and was facing time in juvenile detention. The Barclay household was filled with chaos, domestic fights, and substance abuse problems. That evening, Nicholas made a phone call from a payphone. He asked his older brother Jason to have their mother pick him up. But Jason refused, telling Nicholas to walk the 1.5 miles home instead. Nicholas never made it home that night. He left behind all his money and personal belongings. The boy who was supposed to appear in juvenile court the next day had simply vanished into thin air. Strangely, his mother Beverly didn't report him missing until 3 days later. The police, who were used to being called to the Barclay house for domestic disputes, simply labeled Nicholas as a runaway. Months passed. No news coverage, no search parties, no hope. The family searched alone while authorities seemed to have given up. Nicholas Barclay had become just another statistic. 3 months later, Jason claimed he saw Nicholas trying to break into their garage. But when Jason called out, the figure ran away. Police searched but found nothing. Was it really Nicholas, or was Jason's mind playing tricks on him? Then, in October 1997, more than 3 years after Nicholas disappeared, the impossible happened. A phone call from Spain would change everything. Authorities claimed they had found Nicholas Barclay. The young man they found told an incredible story. He claimed he had been kidnapped by someone in military uniform, taken to Europe, and forced into human trafficking. After escaping, he found himself lost in Spain. Nicholas's sister Carrie flew to Spain to bring him home. But something felt wrong. The boy before her had brown eyes instead of blue, and he spoke with a European accent. The imposter had an explanation for everything. Medical experiments had changed his eye color, he said. The accent came from being forced to learn new languages. Carrie wanted to believe so badly that her brother was alive. For almost 5 months, this stranger lived in Nicholas's bedroom, attended the local school, and fooled an entire family. How could they not see the truth staring them in the face? The truth came crashing down when a reality TV show decided to feature Nicholas's dramatic return. They hired private investigator Charlie Parker to dig deeper into the story. Parker's investigation revealed the shocking truth. The person living as Nicholas Barclay was actually Frederic-Bourdin, a 23-year-old French con artist known as the Chameleon. Bourdin was no amateur. He had spent years impersonating missing children across more than a dozen countries, enrolling in schools and living in foster care. But he wasn't a predator or seeking money. He did it for the thrill. When confronted, Bourdin confessed everything. But he made a disturbing claim that would haunt investigators forever. He believed the Barclay family knew exactly what had happened to the real Nicholas. The family's behavior was indeed strange. Beverly refused to provide DNA samples, literally lying on the floor telling officers they couldn't make her cooperate. Why would a grieving mother refuse to help prove her son's identity? Even more suspicious, they had accepted every outrageous lie from Bourdin. A 23-year-old man with black hair, brown eyes, and a French accent was nothing like their blonde, blue-eyed American boy. In 1998, as Parker's investigation intensified, Jason Barclay died of a drug overdose. The only family member who had been suspicious of the imposter was now dead. Was it suicide, accident, or something more sinister? Bourdin was sentenced to 6 years in prison for passport fraud, but the real Nicholas Barclay remains missing to this day. If alive, he would now be 44 years old. Let us analyze this mystery like Sherlock Holmes would. First, consider the timing. Nicholas disappeared just 1 day before his juvenile court hearing. Was this planned? Second, examine the family's reaction. Why didn't they report him missing for 3 days? Why did they accept an obvious imposter? And why did Jason die when the investigation got serious? Third, look at the pattern. The family had serious drug problems and frequent police visits. Could Nicholas have witnessed something dangerous? Or was he killed accidentally during a family dispute? Private investigator Charlie Parker believes Nicholas is dead and buried somewhere in San Antonio. He still has 2 places he wants to dig and a water well to investigate. The most likely theory? Nicholas may have been killed by someone in his own family, possibly during a drug-related incident or violent domestic dispute. The acceptance of Bourdin was their way of covering up the truth. Another possibility is that Nicholas witnessed a crime and was eliminated to keep him quiet. His troubled behavior and plans to leave for juvenile detention made him a threat to dangerous people. Or perhaps Nicholas did run away as planned, but encountered the wrong people while trying to hide from authorities. His street-smart attitude may have led him into danger he couldn't escape. The key evidence that could solve this case includes Jason's final statements before his death, Beverly's refusal to cooperate, and the specific locations that investigator Parker wants to search. Today, Nicholas Barclay's case remains one of America's most disturbing unsolved mysteries. A boy who needed protection from his troubled family vanished, and that same family welcomed home a stranger rather than face the truth. The real Nicholas Barclay deserves justice. Somewhere in San Antonio, the truth about what happened to that troubled 13-year-old boy on June 13, 1994, is waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed unraveling this mystery, like and subscribe to Sherlock Mode.